Have you ever wondered what to do if you face an alligator in the wild? It's a question that might seem more than a little bit outlandish, but in the ever-changing landscape of our world, it's a situation that isn't entirely impossible. It's a thought that can stir up a sense of adventure and, let's admit it, a bit of fear. But fear not. Knowledge is your best defense. Today, we dive deep into the steps you need to follow to survive such encounters. Before we delve into survival tactics, it's important to understand our opponent, the alligator. These creatures are not just mindless predators, but a fascinating species with unique characteristics and behaviors that have allowed them to survive since prehistoric times. Alligators predominantly inhabit the freshwater swamps and marshlands of the southeastern United States, with the largest population found in Florida. However, they can also be found in rivers, lakes, and even man-made canals. They are cold-blooded, which means they rely on their environment to regulate their body temperature. This is why you'll often find them basking in the sun during cooler months. Alligators are primarily nocturnal hunters, using their powerful jaws to capture and consume their prey. Despite their fearsome reputation, they typically feed on smaller animals like fish, turtles, and various types of birds. However, they are opportunistic feeders and will not hesitate to attack larger prey if the opportunity arises. Now, let's dispel some common misconceptions. Alligators are often depicted as aggressive and dangerous, but they are generally shy and would rather avoid human interaction. They only become a threat when they feel threatened themselves or when humans venture too close to their nest during the breeding season. It's also worth noting that alligators have poor eyesight, especially on land. They rely heavily on their senses of smell and hearing, as well as the sensitive skin receptors along their jaws that help them detect movement in the water. They're not mindless killing machines, but rather skilled hunters that use their senses and their environment to their advantage. And finally, let's talk about speed. Contrary to popular belief, alligators are not as fast on land as they are in water. They can sprint short distances at impressive speeds, but they can't maintain it for long. In water, however, they are agile and swift, using their powerful tails to propel themselves forward. Now that we have a basic understanding of these creatures, we can move on to survival strategies. The best way to survive an alligator attack: avoid it altogether. Now, that might seem like a no-brainer, but it's easier said than done. Alligators are masters of their environment, and they can be found in a variety of habitats, from freshwater rivers and lakes to marshes, and even golf course ponds. They're not always easy to spot either, often lurking just beneath the surface of the water or camouflaged in the undergrowth. So how do you avoid an encounter with these prehistoric predators? First and foremost, steer clear of known alligator habitats whenever possible. If you're in an area where alligators are known to live, be aware of your surroundings. Don't wander too close to the water's edge, especially if it's a secluded or overgrown area. And remember, just because you can't see an alligator doesn't mean it's not there. Feeding alligators is another big no-no. Not only is it illegal in many places, but it also encourages alligators to associate humans with food, which can lead to more aggressive behavior. So keep your picnic leftovers to yourself. Also, be extra cautious during the alligator's most active times. Although they can be active at any time, alligators are primarily nocturnal and are most active between dusk and dawn. So maybe reconsider that midnight swim, and finally keep an eye on your pets. Alligators may view smaller animals as an easy meal, so keep your furry friends close and don't let them swim or play near the water's edge. But as we all know, sometimes despite our best efforts, encounters with wildlife are unavoidable. Maybe you stumbled upon an alligator sunning itself on a trail, or perhaps one has wandered into your backyard. Either way, it's important to know how to react in these situations. But what if an encounter is unavoidable? Let's find out. So, you've come face to face with an alligator. What now? This is the moment where your survival instincts need to kick in, and the first rule of the game is to stay calm. Yes, you heard that right. It's easier said than done, but it's absolutely vital. Remember, panic is your worst enemy in such situations. It can cloud your judgment and lead to hasty, potentially dangerous decisions. While you're keeping your cool, it's equally important to maintain a dominant posture. You might be thinking, how can I appear dominant in front of an alligator? It's simple. Stand tall, broaden your shoulders, and keep your eyes locked on the alligators. This isn't a staring contest, but maintaining eye contact can make you seem larger and more threatening to the alligator. Now, let's talk about movement. The goal here is to put as much distance between you and the alligator as possible. But remember, no sudden moves. Slow and steady wins the race here. Begin to back away slowly, ensuring that you never turn your back on the alligator. It's a common misconception that alligators are slow on land. They can, in fact, move quite quickly over short distances. Turning your back could trigger a chase response. And trust me, you don't want to be in a foot race with an alligator. During all this, keep your arms wide and high. You want to appear as large as possible. It's a psychological game. The larger you appear, the less likely the alligator is to see you as an easy target. Finally, if there's a body of water nearby, don't head towards it. Alligators are expert swimmers and you'll be at a significant disadvantage in the water. Instead, try to move towards a populated area or somewhere you can climb to safety. However, sometimes an attack is imminent. Here's what to do. If an alligator decides to attack, it's time to fight back. Now, we're not encouraging you to go out and pick fights with alligators, but if you found yourself in this unfortunate situation, it's crucial to know how to defend yourself. Alligators, like many animals, have certain sensitive areas that you can target to deter them. Their eyes and snout are particularly sensitive. A snout is the projecting nose and mouth of an animal. If an alligator has latched onto you, try to jab at its eyes. It might sound cruel, but remember, you're fighting for your life. A thumb or a finger in the eye could be enough to make it release its grip. But what if you can't reach the eyes? Then aim for the snout. The alligator's snout is packed with nerve endings, making it another good target. A strong hit to the snout could disorient the alligator and buy you some time to escape. But it's not just about where you fight back, but how. You see, alligators are ambush predators. They rely on the element of surprise and prefer easy meals. If you put up a fight and make yourself seem like too much trouble, it's likely the alligator will give up on you and look for an easier target. So, how do you make yourself seem like a lot of trouble? Make as much noise as possible, shout, scream, and make yourself heard. This isn't a time for being quiet and discreet. You want to startle the alligator as much as possible, and loud noises can help with that. Additionally, if you can, try to move around as much as possible. The more you thrash and struggle, the more difficult you'll be to hold on to. This could convince the alligator to let go and retreat. But remember, the key here is to stay focused and not panic. It's a tough situation, no doubt, but losing your cool won't help. Remember, the goal is to convince the alligator that you're not worth the trouble. Surviving an alligator encounter may seem intimidating, but it's all about understanding, prevention, assertiveness, and defense. Let's take a moment to highlight the key takeaways from our discussion. Initially, we delved into understanding alligators. We learned about their behaviors, their habitats, and what triggers their aggressive responses. Remember, knowledge is our first line of defense. Next, we talked about prevention. We emphasized the importance of keeping a safe distance, avoiding provocation, and staying away from alligator-infested waters, especially during their mating season. Prevention, as they say, is better than cure. Then, we explored the concept of staying calm and assertive. An alligator is more likely to see you as a threat rather than prey if you maintain your composure and assert your presence. Staying calm in the face of danger is undoubtedly a challenging task, but it's crucial for survival. Lastly, we discussed the last resort, fighting back. If an alligator attack is inevitable, we learned that targeting sensitive areas like the eyes and snout can increase your chances of survival. It's a terrifying scenario, but remember, you're not powerless. In essence, surviving an alligator encounter is a dance between respect for nature and the will to survive. It's about understanding these magnificent creatures, preventing potential encounters, maintaining assertiveness, and knowing how to defend yourself when push comes to shove. With this knowledge, you're now better equipped to handle an encounter with one of nature's most fascinating predators. Stay safe out there.